Hello everyone and welcome back to Age of Nagash, which is a channel dedicated to Age of Sigmar, and in this video it's going to be a quick one. Literally only have about 10 minutes, probably don't even really have that amount of time. However, there has been a lot of news just leaked about Soulblight Gravelords. Essentially someone has taken pictures of their Soulblight Gravelord Battletome and put it all over the internet. Now what I will say is anything on the internet is that you can't completely trust it. However, this looks pretty genuine, so this is the real stuff. Unfortunately, I don't have enough time to go through all of it, like I said, but what I will be doing is I'm probably going to go over the allegiance abilities we've got at the moment, and then when I come back from whatever I'm doing in a moment, I'll do a video probably late afternoon, I reckon, evening sort of time in the UK, and then I'll do that video covering all the war scrolls, because basically, I reckon, again, I'm eating into my time here when I'm explaining this, but I reckon within like the 5-10 minutes I have, it's probably easier to go over the allegiance abilities than it is to go over, 20 odd war scrolls. So that's exactly what we'll be doing. So go stick around later for my video I'll be putting up about all the war scrolls. Don't you worry, wish I could do it now, but I can't, unfortunately. Let me know what you guys think about all of this leaked information that we've been receiving this morning in the comment section down below. Okay, so the first thing what I'm going to be doing is talking about the allegiance abilities, is talking about the battle traits. So the Masters of Death, which is the cursed bloodline. So basically, again, I haven't actually read all this, but I will summarise things what I reckon it'll be. If I'm wrong, you can put it in the comments. So just talking about the 5 sub-allegiances you've got, which are called the cursed bloodlines, but they're like dynasties. So that's fair enough. If someone else already got a dynasty keyword, they cannot be given another dynasty keyword, but they can go in that dynasty, blah, blah, blah. You can include Nagash into your army. In a Soulblight Gravelord's army, he gains the Soulblight Gravelord's keyword, and he is treated as being the general in addition to the model that you have chosen to be the general. So you can have a general as well as Nagash. However, you cannot have any mercenary units in your... Yeah, that's fine. Like, don't care about mercenary units unless that's something that's going to be a bit of a change in AOS 3rd edition. What I will say, though, about Nagash here, so Nagash can be included in the army, that's cool. But he has something like 955 points or something like that when I had a quick look at his points in a very blurry iPhone. So again, like that's a lot of points, and I think what we might see is in 3rd edition that we play with a bigger points allowance. So like the standard point game we have in Age Sigmar as we know it is 2,000 points, maybe we go up to 2,500, something like that. So don't worry about that too much. And Nagash's war scroll could be pretty good. I don't think Nagash's war scroll is included in what we've got leaked here though, but I may be wrong. I just don't think I came across it. So the other battle traits we have is the Unquiet Dead. So after territories have been chosen, but before armies have been set up, you can pick up to 2 points within your territory and pick up to 2 points anywhere on the battlefield outside your territory to be grave sites. Each grave site must be more than 1 inch from all other terrain features and objectives. That's weird because I'm pretty sure in the article I read out yesterday it said there was only going to be 2 grave sites you can have, and I'm pretty sure I did like a figure saying like, oh, 2, that's not as good, that's bad, and then they just said you can have 4 anyway. So, yeah, a little bit skeptical of that. But anyway, it says instead of setting up Soulblight Gravelord summonable units on the battlefield before the battle begins, you can place it to one side and say it's set up in a grave site. You can set up 1 reserve unit in a grave site for each unit you have already set on the battlefield. I think that hasn't changed apart from take away Legion of Nagash keyword and put Soulblight Gravelords. And it says at the end of at the end of any movement phase, you can set up 1 or more of these units on the battlefield wholly within 12 inches of a gravesite and more than 9 inches from all enemy units at the start of the 4th battle round. Was a reserve unit that has still been set up in the graveyard before, basically by the time we get to the 4th battle round, will be destroyed as we come to expect with deep striking units. So it says Locus of Shaiish. So if the unmodified casting roll for a friendly Soulblight Gravelord's wizard attempting to cast a spell is a 9+, basically you get to do the result of the spell twice. We've covered this before. Deathless Minions means you have a 6-up death save against wound and mortal wounds if you're wholly within 12 inches of a Soulblight Gravelord's hero or a Soulblight Gravelord gravesite, basically. And then you've got, so just something interesting about that. So I had a quick look at the Black Knight banners and stuff, and they allow you to reroll 1s for that, like the Blood Knight. So it looks like that'll be the new thing for death banners, but of course we'll review all those war scrolls later today. And then it says reanimate horde. So subtract 1 from the bravery characteristic. Subtract 1 from the bravery characteristic of enemy units while they are within 6 inches of one friendly Soulblight Gravelord's Deadwalker or Soulblight Gravelord's Death Rattle unit. Subtract 2 from the buried characteristic of enemy units instead of 1 while they are within 6 inches of 2 or more friendly Soulblight Gravelord Deadwalkers, Soulblight Gravelord Death Rattle units. Death units are not affected by this ability. The reason why I was like stop and start on that a little bit, because I thought that I was just going to be talking about how you bring back, you know, half a Sunball unit and stuff, and then it turns out a different ability. Yeah, that's good. So that's just a nice, easy way to debuff the enemy. Essentially, it kind of feels like it's a better version of what the old like dead banners used to be. Like I said, subtract 1 from the bravery. It's funny how it's the Dead Walkers and the you know, Death Rattle who give it off, and not like, you know, whoa, that's, you know, zombies and skeletons scare me. Fair enough, you know, they're not nice to come across in the Mortal Realms. But, you know, that zombie dragon, no problem. You know, chuck as many of those things you like at me, I won't run away. And then you've got the Endless Legion, so yeah, that's about bringing back a unit. I read through that yesterday. Well, yeah, you guys watch that video if you want to know, or just read it here. Anyway, so it says Deathly Invocation. So at the start of your hero phase, you can pick a number of different friendly Soulblight Gravelord Sunball units wholly within 12 inches of a friendly Soulblight Gravelord hero to be affected by a Deathly Invocation. The number of different friendly Soulblight Gravelord Sunball units you can pick is determined by the keyword on that hero. Okay, so they've changed it. So it's not like a standard everyone's got a Deathly Invocation and it specifically says on the ability on their war scroll if they can do 2 or 1 or 3 or whatever units. What it is now is Mortarts can do up to 4, Vampires can do up to 3, Deathmages up to 2, Death up to 2. So Necromancers and White Kings basically. That's cool. I don't think that's really changed too much, but I like it like that. I think it's more standardised. It says if the hero has more than one of the above keywords on the war scroll, choose one. Oh, like if it was Neferata, she's a Mortark and she's a vampire, healing 7. You know, I mean, I don't know where you're going to get that many Sunball units, but it would be cool. It says for each of the units you picked, you can heal up to D3 wounds allocated to it. Right, okay, so you can heal up to D3 wounds allocated to it, but you can heal D3 wounds worth of models to that unit if no wounds have been allocated to that unit. I'm just going to guess that's what that says. If I'm wrong, you can let me know and I can read it properly later when I have time. So then we go on to... Oh, we're talking about dynasties and stuff now. Like, this isn't an order. That's the one thing I will say. Okay, are we going to... let's do, like, the spell law, if that's up. Yeah, we'll do the spell law because I think that is part of the battle trait part, basically. So it says, friendly wizards in the Soulblight Gravelord's keywords know the Invigorating Aura spell. In addition to any other spells they know, any number of Soulblight Gravelord wizards can attempt to cast Invigorating Aura in the same hero phase. In addition, you can choose or roll for one spell from one of the following tables. Each wizard in the Soulblight Gravelord's army, if Nagash is part of the Soulblight Gravelord, he knows all the spells from the following tables. Fantastic, I love that. So it's like the same what he's got in the Ostrich Bone Reapers, which means if a new Nighthorn Battletome comes out, Nagash might be allowed to go in that, and he knows like all the spell laws and everything. Can't take merchants, blah blah blah. Could be the same Flesh at your Court up. Like, it'd just be like a nice way to slot in Nagash. Don't know if it would be the best way to, you know, play him and stuff. Probably still only be useful in OBR, but you know, we'll wait and see. But we've got Invigorating Aura. So Invigorating Aura is cast for 8. Add 1 to the roll for each friendly Soulblight Gravelord hero on the battlefield. If successful, pick 1 friendly Soulblight Gravelord Sunball units wholly within 18 inches of the caster. You can heal either 3 wounds allocated to that unit, or if no wounds have been allocated, 3 wounds worth of models, blah blah blah. The same unit chosen cannot be affected by a spell once per turn. So with the Deathly Invocation, it may seem like this is a bit of a, you know, a bit of like double down and just healing Sunball units, and it could be, but what you've got to think is that more healing the better, honestly, especially when you've got things like hordes and stuff healing back. And I can't remember when I read through the grave sites, I don't know if it actually said you can heal D3 wounds from grave sites, which you used to be able to. Unfortunately, I don't have the time to quickly go back and read it now, but I'm sure you guys can let me know. But if that has changed and you can't, then you know this is needed. And casting value of 8 is really high, but you should have hopefully a lot of heroes in your army to get it down. It says the Law of the Vampires. So this is what Nagash and Vampire Wizards only can do. And you've got Blades of Shaiish. So just to say quickly, the Law of Vampires in the last Legions of Nagash Battletome basically was the worser law. Like, it was still some good spells in it, but it wasn't as good as Deathmages. So let's see if that changes. So the first one, so Blades of Shaiish. Casting value 5, if successfully cast, roll a dice for each enemy unit within 12 inches of the caster. On a 3+, that unit's at board. Move on. Could be useful if you're like tagged by the enemy or something. That's it. Number 2, Spirit Gale. This is very much sounding. These are the same spells, but let's see if they've changed. So Spirit Gale. Casting value 5, successfully cast. Pick one enemy unit within 8 inches of the caster that is visible to them, and roll 2d6 if the roll is greater than that unit's bravery characteristic. That unit suffers a mortal wound equal to the difference between that and the bravery characteristic. I think that spell's changed. Again, like if that was the spell in the Legions of the Gash Battletome, I never casted it. It sounds like the Banshee Scream. So yeah, that's alright. It's better than the last one. And then you got the Soul Spike. So Soul Spike casting value of 6. If successfully cast, pick one enemy unit within 18 inches of the caster that is visible to them until your next hero phase. If that unit makes a charge move, roll a number of dice equal to the charge roll for that unit. For each 4+, that unit suffers 1 mortal wound. The same unit cannot be affected by this spell more than once. So I like this just because it's a way to just try and like prevent the enemy from charging you a bit, which is quite nice. So I think it's the best spell we're going to read here in the lore. No, but it's one of the. It's not as shit as Spirit as Blades of Shai, shall we say. It can be useful. I think it might have been on a 5. It did the mortal wound last time. So yeah, I think that can be good. But then you've got Amethystine Pinion. So Amethystine Pinion is casting value of 5. If successfully cast until your next hero phase, add 6 inches to the caster's move characteristic. The same unit cannot benefit from this more than once. I believe that's the same as it was because I know it increased your movement. That might have been + 5 to your movement. I can't really remember, but no, that's still good. Low casting value. Bear in mind you cast this on a flat 9 or more, so basically just unmodified, no 3+ to it because of you on the gash or whatever. You will get to do these spell effects twice. So just bear that in mind. You know, you could +12 inches to your movement, which could be very useful in Prince of Hordre or something like that. So number 5 is Vile Transference. So Vile Transference casting value of 4. If successfully cast, pick one enemy unit within 6 inches of the caster that is visible to them. Roll a number of dice equal to half of that enemy's unit's wounds characteristic, rounding up. For each 6, you can heal 1 wound allocated to that. Okay, that has changed. So sorry, I'll read that again. I was expecting it to be exactly the same. So casting value 4, successfully cast, pick one enemy unit within 6 inches of the caster that is visible to them. Roll a number of dice equal to half of that enemy unit's wound characteristic, rounding up. For each 6, you heal 1 wound allocated to the caster. Oh. So enemy unit's wound characteristic. So that's like a unit of like 40 grots, like half all those wounds. That means 20 because they're 1 wound each. Does that mean you roll 20 dice, or does that mean like you'd roll 1 dice because they're grot with 1 wound, or like if it's an ogre, you would roll 4 dice? I think it's the unit and then you cut that in half. Otherwise, it's terrible and it's still not good. This used to be really, really good. This spell. Basically, what you used to do is pick an enemy unit within range, pick one of your units within range of that enemy unit. You do basically an arcane bolt to that enemy unit, and then every wound that enemy unit took, you got to pick. The friendly unit you picked as part of that heals as many wounds as that enemy unit took, which was great. And when I mean arcane bolt, I mean just like a nice D3 mortal wounds, like a supercharged arcane bolt. That was really good. It was a great healing spell in the army. So this is shite in my honest opinion, unless it is like. No, because even if it was like a 40, it's not the easiest thing to come by in Age of Sigmar, and it was that, and you roll 20 dice. The average you're going to get is, like the low average is like 3 6s, which is, like I suppose it's good as like a D3 heal, but like you're not going to always be doing it on units 20. Blah, 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 I don't have time to talk about it anymore. The Amphime Orb we got for number 6, so has casting value 6. If successfully cast, pick 1 point on the battlefield within 9 inches of the caster that is visible to them, and draw an imaginary straight line 1 millimeter wide between that point and the closest part of the caster's base. Roll a dice for each unit that has models passed across by that line. On a 2+, that unit suffers D3 mortal wounds. Deaf units are not affected by the spell. So, I can't remember the deaf unit bit's changed, but what I will say is it used to be D6 mortal wounds, but I believe it used to be on a 4+. So, on a 2+ for D3, that might be, better on the maths because it's just more guaranteed damage you're going to be doing. But D6 is a lot cooler to me, and I'm willing to risk everything on roll on a 4+, especially if you cast this on a 9 or more unmodified, which then meant you got to do it twice. It was really, really, really quite fun. Okay, I have actually gone over my time, but we will read through the Law of the Deathmages, and I think that's where we'll stop, and then we'll come back, like I say, in a later video today for sure, and I'll cover everything else that's left here. Otherwise, I'm just going to quickly skim through everything, and like I said, I've gone over time now, but I have to read this properly. I can't just go, yeah, I mean, yeah, something, you know, I want to do a proper review, and that's why the one later will be probably 5 times as long as this one. But we've got the Law of the Deathmages, so Nagash, Mortarks, and Deathmage Wizards Concasters. So in the Vampire one, there was just Nagash and Vampire Wizards, maybe because all the Mortarks who can be in this army are vampires, so they don't need to state it. But anyway, so the first one you've got is Overwhelming Dread. Again, these are all the same names as, I believe, that one might not be, as what we had last time. So see how much has changed. So Overwhelming Dread, casting value of 5. If successfully cast, pick enemy unit within 18 inches of the caster and is visible to them. 2 units hero face, subtract 1 from the hit rolls for attacks made by that unit. So it used to be subtract 1 from the hit rolls and the bravery characteristic. I mean, you could argue because all the debuffing you can do to the enemy's bravery within this army, that would actually be very useful to have as part of this. But the main part for me when I cast this was the making the enemy -1 to hit. So that's cool. Low casting value. Fading Vigor. So Fading Vigor casting value of 6 is successfully cast. Pick 1 enemy unit within 18 inches of the caster that is visible to them. Oh, pardon me. Subtract 1 from the attack characteristics of that unit's melee weapons to a minimum of 1 until your next hero phase. So, yeah, that's bad because it used to be, I think it used to make the enemy only be able to charge like 1d6 as well. I'm not going to compare all the spells, but I'm interested in that one because that was a particularly very useful spell. That was almost like an auto-include when you were making a Legions of Nagash army. So just have a quick look. Again, won't be able to show this to the camera, but Fading Vigor... yeah, you only rolled a single dice when making charge rolls. So that has changed for the worse. So, and sorry, just casting value 6. I just want to quickly compare to see, alright, it's got worse, but has the casting value, you know, reflected that? No, that was casting value 6 as well. So it has just outright got worse, that spell. And presumably Overwhelming Dread as well. Because that wasn't, the subtracting 1 from the attack cash is good, but for me, the reason why I cast that was to make the enemy not guarantee their charges. And then you've got number 3, Spectral Grasp. So Spectral Grasp casting value 6 is successfully cast. Pick 1 terrain feature wholly within 8 inches of the caster. I don't think it used to be wholly within, but that's because it's probably the old Battletome and old worded and stuff. And is visible to them until your next hero phase. Half the move characteristic around and down of enemy units that start a normal move within 3 inches of that terrain feature. So like I said, apart from the Holy Within stuff, I don't think that spell's changed, and I really do like that spell, so I'll still be doing it. And then number 4, you've got Prison of Grief. So Prison of Grief casting value of 6 is successfully cast. Pick 1 enemy unit within 12 inches of the caster that is visible to them until your next hero phase. Roll a dice each time that unit attempts to move. On a 5+, that unit cannot move in that phase. The same unit cannot be affected by the spell more than once per turn. Yeah, that's alright. I still prefer Spectral Grasp though. And then you've got Decrificy, whatever that is. Has casting value of 6. If successfully cast, pick 1 enemy hero within 18 inches of the caster and is visible to them until your next hero phase. Subtract 1 from the wound roll for attacks made by that model and subtract 1 from the damage characteristics of that model melee weapons to a minimum of 1. So that's like it's very dependent obviously on what army you're fighting. If you're fighting against an army that doesn't really have many fighting heroes, you know, not very useful. Like if you know what army you're going to fight against. But if you're going to go against like Ogre Moor tribes and like Beast Core Raiders, that would be really good putting out on a Stonehorn or something. And then you've got number 6, which is Soul Harvest. So Soul Harvest has a casting value of 7. If successfully cast, each enemy unit within 3 inches of the caster suffers D3 mortal wounds. In addition, for each mortal wound inflicted by this spell and is not negated, roll a dice for each 5+. You can heal 1 wound allocated to the caster. So this is good. I like to put this on the gash and stuff, and I put this on the gash. I think Vile Transference, and just to try and really keep them alive for ages. I've always liked this. Again, it's a 5+, and it's one of those things where don't give this to your Vampire Lord on foot because they've got a tiny base size. At most, they're going to be in range of 2 enemy units. You want to have this on something big, maybe like a Vampire Lord, Zombie Dragon, Nagash, Neferata, Manfred, something like that, because then they've got bigger bases, which means they could be in range of like 3 enemy units, which could be very useful and it's going to help you try and heal those wounds back. I'll probably try that on Neferata or Manfred or something. And And that is... Okay, there's loads that you can see. We've got Manfred here and stuff. A 3+ save and 12 wounds. I've literally been waiting 5-6 fucking years for this. So I can't wait to review that later. Look at that. That's amazing. So, unfortunately, I've got to go. Basically, I'm going to the gym. And it's going to be like a 3-something+ hour workout. So I can't leave it till later because I normally agree to go with a mate. So I can't leave them hanging. But, God, I do really... There's so much... So much here I want to cover, but like I say, I will be doing it later. Don't worry, guys. So tune in later. But I hope you enjoyed this video. I said it's going to be 10 minutes. I ended up making it probably 20 minutes for you guys because I just, you got to do it justice. If you did enjoy this video, make sure you smash the like button. And the more likes I get, the quicker I'm going to make the other parts. So make sure you get on that. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Massively helps out the channel. Press the bell notification so you know when my future videos are coming up. And any questions you've got or your thoughts on what we've seen so far, put that in the comments down below. But don't worry, I will be reviewing the rest of what we've been given here. I want that to be very clear. If you want to see what we've got here, the link to my Discord is in the description of this video, and it was posted on my Discord, and that's how I saw it, so you can go check out there if you would like to. And what I'd say as well is if you think someone else will enjoy this video, make sure you share it with them. I want to do a massive shout out to my patrons. Unfortunately, I don't have time to read all your names out, but I will do in my later video. You guys mean a lot to me. Thank you so much for your continued support. If you'd like to become a patron or a YouTube member, if you click the join button, you'll to become a YouTube member. It means that you can give anything from £1 a month, go straight towards the channel, keeps me going, allows me to help get people into Age of Sigmar and continue their Age of Sigmar journey. And then if you would like to support me on Patreon, you'll find a link to my Patreon on the top of the description down below. And you can give anything from $1 a month. And honestly, anything just like $1, £1, massively helps out the channel. Like, anything helps, and I would be hugely appreciative if you could do that. If you can't though, like, subscribe and comment down below. Like I say, make sure you smash the bell notification, share the video. And until next time, later today, I hope you have a good rest of your day until I catch you later. And everything what I usually say, so stay safe, stay hygienic. Make sure you wear a mask. For God's sake, wash your hands. By the time that I read the rest of these rules, hopefully you'll be feeling a bit better. And remember, until next time, more importantly, that Nagash is all, and all is one in Nagash.